We are barely 2 weeks into this Venezuela conflict and the conspiracies are already stacking up. And my personal favorite is the claim that this whole conflict is a smokescreen to acquire Venezuela's Stargate. But then it hit me. I've heard this one before. I've seen this one before. Back in 2003, when we invaded Iraq, conspiracy forums lit up with stories about Marines uncovering an ancient structure beneath the Ziggurat of Ur, a Stargate directly connected to the Anunnaki. Now, there are many versions of this story. They can range from tombs of giants and crashed UFOs, and details can vary depending on the source. But there's one constant: a Babylonian Stargate with US forces moving in to lock it down. Some include Saddam Hussein trying to facilitate a return of the Anunnaki. Those are also my favorite because I like to imagine Saddam and the Anunnaki sharing a hookah, discussing geopolitics. Now people are saying that Venezuela follows a similar blueprint with a few upgrades. In this version, the Stargate isn't activated, but it has been found, and this narrative seems to mostly be about the US controlling it before Russia or China can. According to lore, we already control the last one.
There's a conspiracy theory that modern school wasn't designed to make people think, but to make them comply. The theory often points to John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men in history. He helped fund early public education programs in the early 1900s, especially through organizations that shaped the school system we still use today. And something he actually said was, he wanted a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. While historians debate whether he said it exactly like that, critics argue his actions mattered more than the words. Schools were modeled after factory systems, bells, strict schedules, standardized testing, sitting still, and following instructions. Creativity, questioning authority, and independent thinking were often discouraged. And according to some, this wasn't accidental. It trained children to become efficient employees, on time, obedient, and comfortable taking order. School teaches what to think, not how to think, and that the system works exactly as it was designed to. Stay weird.
Did you ever hear about the full moon theory?
Full moon, no. What is that?
So, full moon, every single time we see it in a movie, the werewolves coming out and shit. Like, spooky shit happens at a full moon, right? There's a theory, the reason a full moon actually affects humans is down to science. Now, listen, you take a full moon. What do they say about the waves in the water? The high tide. Every time there's a full moon, there's what? High tide. Why does it affect water?
Before continuing, I wanted to warn you guys. Their phones were being spied on. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately.
Now, if humans are 80% what?
Water?
How would it affect us, bro? Think about that shit. So listen, full moon affects water, making it high tide. If we're 80% water, if we stand in the field like 200 people deep, the moon's probably gonna affect us too, because that's water, no?
But there's always full moons, but I don't feel nothing though.
I don't know. Maybe we're not like.
Yeah. So you're saying if you stand in front, like say a field, and you just really focus, you'll turn into like a werewolf.
These buildings were already here. This is what people were fighting over. A group of people would inhabit this area, and they would fight over these buildings. And then they would take over those buildings, and then they would say that that is now our buildings. And this architecture is mind-blowing because there's a clock right there. You can see that at the top. See that clock? These are all energetic buildings. All the antennas on top of this, these were all energetic buildings. Somebody said, who's running the show? The people who destroyed all of this. That's what's really weird. So these types of buildings can be found all over the world. In every part of the world, you can find these buildings. That's what it is. It's founded or found. So basically someone would find these buildings and then they would then say it's theirs. Now what's interesting is since this book is from the 1850s, notice how they know exactly how the building is built. They know the insides of the building. They know every single detail of the building. And this is where it gets interesting because when I was looking at some pictures from the 1500s, they look like CAD drawings, almost like computer drawings. Almost like the computer and the technology has already been here for a long period of time. And then they've been sold in the 1900s or 2000s that it's new technology. But those are some beautiful buildings, and there's the architecture. So here's another one. See the levels deep? So what they do is they build on the ground surface, and then they get rid of the levels below. And these buildings can be found all over the world. Every single country across the world has the same architecture. You can find these buildings in every country. That's the part where things don't make any sense, because they tell you, oh, this was the Greek times and this was the Roman times. Really, the Romans were traveling all over the world, building these buildings everywhere and multiple levels deep.
Look beyond this ice wall. How many outer lands are there?
Hundreds. Not only are there lands beyond the wall, but buddy, the majority of lands are beyond the wall. When our original conquerors, right, the founding families from the ancestral lands, discovered our continents within the wall, they obviously came bearing vast amounts of knowledge on this outer world.
What are we talking?
Maps. They had to know how to navigate, right? Although the ice wall and the lands within were a new discovery, they'd spent centuries mapping out the vast outer world. Okay, exchanging data with other civilizations to flesh those maps out even more. And so you essentially have these real true maps of our world, right, that get smuggled in with the founding families as they came and colonized our modern world. And, well, those maps were kept extremely protected for quite a long time. And at one point, these higher-ranking families attempted to destroy all of them. But what they didn't realize was there were already copies that had gotten into the hands of different family members, right? Some of which didn't particularly like the deceptive nature of their higher-ups. And so fast forward, and there are literally copies of these maps that depict the true vastness of our world, literally circulating to this day. Gonna go ahead and say this is a joke for entertainment purposes only, right, for my safety.
The Book of Enoch tells us exactly what happened to the giant trees that were cut down. It mentions how the angels of God labored or cut down the trees in order to prevent the Nephilim giants from climbing up to survive the flood. We've been born with sight, but our eyes have become blind. They told you this is just pareidolia, that your mind is playing tricks on you. Well, your eyes have become traitors over time. So you do enough research and you come to realize that the majority of science is in fact pseudoscience to fit a narrative. We should know by now that many plateaus and mountains aren't rock formations, but the stumps of these giant trees that were cut down. And if you look closely at a lot of them, you'll see tree rings. Put the tree ring under a microscope and you will see geometric patterns of a hexagon. Take plant stems and you'll also see that each individual fiber is hexagonal in shape. This is what allows the trees to grow upwards into big beautiful trees that reach the sky. Now what's funny is scientists, or the Dark Kabbalah priest, tell us that this was made from lava. Since when does lava or magma cool down and make geometric shapes? Let's take a look at Devil's Tower. Again, they tell us that this was formed by igneous lava. Here we see climbers on individual hexagonal towers. The stems of Devil's Tower bend into the base of the ground just like a tree. We see examples of these cut down trees all throughout the world, and Enoch says that there were 200 of them. Now there's always connections within the Bible that point to the book of Enoch so we can get more details. Just like in Genesis it tells us that there were giants in the earth in those days, there's other verses that tell us all about these trees. Daniel chapter 4 verse 10, pay attention. I saw a large tree in the middle of the earth. The tree grew very tall and strong, reaching high into the heavens for all the world to see. I saw a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven, and he shouted, "Cut down the tree and lop off its branches, but leave the stump and the roots in the ground, so that everyone may know that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of the world." So even the Bible tells us not only who cut these tree stumps down, but why they were left there, to show the power and destruction of God and his angels. Now mud fossils. Are these really petrified giants? Well, in Enoch 16:1 it says, "As to the death of the giants, wherever their spirits depart from their bodies, let their flesh, which is perishable, be without judgment." So judgment of the flesh is to rot and go away, to decompose. But without judgment is to not decompose. So we have to think about, how could these giants be petrified? Well, what plays a major role in petrification? Water. And what happened after the trees were cut down? The Great Flood. A legend across every culture in the world. There's a reason that Enoch, along with many other books, have been removed from the modern Bible. These books painted a far too accurate description of not only our realm and where we live, but the history behind it. You can keep believing that this is all just coincidence, keep believing that you're on a spinning water marble heading nowhere, and evolution is real, that you're a cosmic accident, or you can do a little bit of research, find the truth, and find out that there is a creator who made this amazing realm, and that you were created for a purpose.
Did you ever see the video of the congresswoman in the courtroom? People were trying to say that, oh, she was getting mind controlled.
No,
You
I
didn't?
don't think I've ever seen this.
So
No.
there was a woman that was doing like a speech and she was like talking in the meeting, right?
Mhm.
And she was flipping around pages, right? But in the video, right beside her, I mean, in the back of her to her right, there was another lady there. And the people are saying that that lady was controlling the person at the front.
Oh, she was like puppeteering her?
Yeah, no, and it was so obvious because her eyes were like this, and every word that she was mumbling was the words that that the other girl was saying out loud.
Damn.
You want to see it?
Let me see.
And people are saying like, oh, she's not just high, because that doesn't happen in a courtroom, fam. Like you have to be professional. Right here, look. You see this, Burbank?
55 from the committee's interview.
And look at this woman behind her. Ready?
I have some administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce
Oh, what
Look
the
at
heck?
the mouth.
page 55
Oh my
from the
God.
committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow.
Whoa, that's weird.
Eyes,
That's actually weird.
eyes like this, and like she's not saying it fully, but you know it
It's like a ventriloquist.
Yeah, ventriloquist.
Whoa.
It's the exact same.
Nah, that's weird. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Giants.
This isn't a mountain. It's the biggest tree the Earth ever had. According to legend, it was once a massive world tree, a pathway giants used to travel between the sky and the land. When the gods came down, the giants fought back. Angry, the gods cut the tree straight in half. What was left was a giant stump slowly turned to stone over time, becoming what we see today. Scientists say it's just a volcanic neck, but look at those patterns, they look way too much like petrified wood. So what do you think? Just a natural wonder or evidence of ancient giants? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
So this piece is one of my favorites out of ancient Egypt. This statue is of one of the Middle Kingdom's most significant rulers, Amenemhat III, who ruled for an extensive 45 plus years during a golden age of Kemet's illustrious 12th dynasty. Amenemhat's statue, carved from black granite, shows exquisite detail and is facially consistent with the dozens of detailed artworks associated with the king. He has a thick and full mouth and lips, strong cheekbones, and, as seen on another famous depiction, the most impressive representation of locked hair I perhaps have ever seen. Similar to the style donned by Giza, his locks are based on styling thinner locks, known in the black community as sister locks, into larger jumbo locks, which are then formed back into slightly smaller jumbo locks towards the tip. He is flanked by Heru-headed staffs on either side of his head, representing the guardianship and sight on all sides. He also wears what appears to be a loosened Usek neck collar and notable false beard. One of the lesser noticed aspects of this statue is the leopard skin fro with the paw showing on the right shoulder and head on the left shoulder, a practice also reflected in their Kushite brothers to the south. Leopard skins continue to be employed as a distinction of nobility, notably amongst Proto-Bantu speaking Africans in several kingdoms, and the same was the case from the Old to the New Kingdom of ancient Egypt.
Okay, so there's two separate things going on here, and I seen these the other night too. I understand this man. Just one's patrolling the other one. Definitely two separate things. Mm-hmm.
Yo, Stephen Hawking, right? The most brilliant man in the world. People say like one of the most smartest people in the world, right? And he didn't believe in God, right? He didn't believe in like afterlife. He was an atheist.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? How was Stephen Hawking living?
Living?
He was stuck in a
Like,
yeah.
wait, what do you mean by that though?
Listen, so before he had his eurekas, he did have his like eurekas and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then when he said he was an atheist, he said, don't believe in this, don't believe in that.
Then he went into that?
Before continuing, I wanted to warn you guys. Their phones were being spied on. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately.
What happened to him?
Like, dead ass?
Yes.
Like right after that?
Yes.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he could only speak through a thing, remember?
What the fuck? Nah.
Because he defied God.
Nah, that's fucked.
There is no God. No one created the universe. There is probably no heaven, and no afterlife either.
I never knew that.
You didn't know that?
I thought it was...
This is also like an Andrew Schultz joke too. Like,
oh, okay,
Andrew Schultz talked about it too. Like,
Look at this. Why the fuck?
It's like smart.
I don't think it's a life. All right, a life wrap. You can see the pen.
Some help. I want to renegotiate the contract, my contract.
Had to.
was your soul for fame and fortune.
Did not deliver.
Yes. Yeah. But the aging process didn't address it. Another soul for another 50 years.
For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? You don't even have to be religious to follow me on this one. We can all agree that the only thing that we take with us when we go is our soul. Physical things, this t-shirt, anything, does not come with you. So why would anyone ever want to trade that for worldly things, for literal pieces of matter that you are only going to leave behind? Trust me when I say there isn't a worse off deal to have ever existed in the whole entire existence of this world. And whether you feel ulterior motives or this video we just watched is a parody, our point still stands as strongly either way.
History says they used copper chisels, but this granite core shows high-speed drill marks. The feed rate is 3 mm per rotation, faster than diamond drills. This required tons of pressure. Copper cannot do this. Someone was using power tools 4,500 years ago. Who really built the pyramids? Welcome to Chrono Archives.
The 3 pyramids of Giza are laid out on the ground in the pattern of the 3 stars of Orion's belt. And skeptics will say, well, you can find any buildings and line them up with any stars you want, but Orion actually isn't any old constellation. Orion was the god Osiris in the sky. He was, the ancient Egyptians called the Orion constellation Sahu, and they recognize it as the celestial image of the god Osiris. So what's being copied on the ground is the belt of a deity, of a celestial deity. It's not just a random constellation. And then when we take precession into account, you find something else very intriguing happening. First of all, you find that the exact orientation of the pyramids as it is today, and pretty much as it was when they're supposed to have been built 4,500 years ago, it's not precisely related to how Orion's belt looked at that time. There's a bit of a twist. They're not quite right. But as you precess the stars backwards and you come to around 10,500 BC, 12,500 years ago in the Younger Dryas, you find that suddenly they lock perfectly.
Located deep within a pine forest, likely in Scandinavia, strikingly resembles a large animal or dinosaur head. Proof is everywhere. What do you believe? Rurutu Island is about 357 miles south of Tahiti. One of the island's most iconic sites is a cave entrance sometimes referred to as the Monster's Mouth. What do you believe?
I know that lo-fi girl on YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's whole lore about this now. So
I think I heard a little.
So there's a theory going on and how she went missing recently.
Mm.
So what happens is nobody in the community knows what happens to her or like where she went, right? But in the back of her window, there's like a building with there's like a blue light that flickers.
Yeah.
And supposedly that's Morse code for something, right?
Wait, what was it Morse code for?
Before continuing, I wanted to warn you guys. Their phones were being spied on. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately.
No, I don't know yet. So a lot of people in the community were putting random numbers in the chat and then deleting it. So nobody knows what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, the scene on that YouTube video changed. So it wasn't her riding with a cat behind her no more. It was the blue room. It was the blue room with only a door, and that was it. So the community's like, what is this? What is this like symbol? Like, what does it symbolize? And no one knows where she went or what she's doing right now. But the whole theory is like, is this the end because she got kidnapped? Is this the end of the sleeping streams?
Nah.
if you look at the tablets again, this is why I love these tablets, man. They talk about the fact that, you know, they had created this being, not created from scratch, but genetically modified. They add their essence to it, is what they say, added our essence. So by adding the essence, you can see where all of a sudden maybe our ancestors were in tune with the magnetic field and were able to communicate psychopathically, maybe even had telekinesis and these other innate abilities, weren't technologically advanced, but maybe more spiritually advanced. And they tinkered with us and took away our memory, took away our ability to tap into that so we can focus solely on them. Again, in the myth of Adampa, it's saying that we're going to tap into this. So I believe that all of our innate abilities that we used to have are going to start to come back over time, like accessing Earth's magnetic field with the magnetite crystals in our brains. We all have billions of magnetite crystals in our brains, and they put a guy into a laboratory, and they put a giant bar magnet and moved it around the room, and they put an EEG cap on them and a scanner, and they saw that they were orienting themselves to the magnetic field. So we still have the ability to navigate magnetic fields. We just don't even know it. We're unaware of it.
So I believe it's unique moments like this when spirit gives us unique opportunities to back engineer the past, right? As we analyze these artifacts, we see a form of ancient technology, and people keep asking questions, right? How is this information accessible to humanity at this time, right? We believe that these artifacts were hidden for a time where humanity has evolved to a certain level of consciousness where we will no longer destroy these relics of time. And when you really study and analyze what's happening here, we think that there's possible piezoelectric energy, right? There's the weight of the sacred cube, and the weight alone could be literally the divine pressure response happening from these sacred nanogeopolymer-like living technologies, right? These could be the types of technologies that were embedded into the old world, right? They talk about the antiquitech, ancient technology that we were using in all the ancient old world buildings. And when you really break down and analyze the old world and how they were accessing free atmospheric energy, we start to think about the ancient artifacts and what these could truly represent. So we sit here and we analyze the divine beauty, right, that emanates from this sacred artifact. And we can sit and speculate and analyze and break it down together collectively. So join the team. Let's see what you think. So as we analyze these sacred artifacts, they seem to represent information that's been encoded within time. And when we break down the Ark of the Covenant, right, there's a lot of mythological symbology encoded within the whole story of it. And it's an energy source. Now we see a sarcophagus down below, which is a representation of life, death, and rebirth. And so on top of that, we see the Ark of the Covenant being an energy source. But when you really break down what's being depicted here, we see two angels with their wings almost touching, creating the sacred arc of life, right? The spark of consciousness, or you could call it the collapse, the moment of singularity. And when you break that down, the original wave vibration.
This is just remarkable, okay? Now look at this pyramid right up here at the top. Do you see that up at the top? That is a statue on top of the pyramid. This is why these old books are very, very crucial, because these buildings have been reset. They've been destroyed, messed with by the Rockefellers. Rockefellers destroyed a lot of the pyramids and they rewrote the history. But there is a statue sitting up on top of that. And if you notice those pyramids in the center right there, there's water. So in the 1700s and 1800s, the pyramids of Giza were surrounded by water. And if you notice, if you go kind of right there, you can see that this pyramid right here is in water. Okay, so now we're adding to the element of building in water a gigantic pyramid, putting a statue on top of there in the water. I mean, this is just stuff that you have to kind of think about. Like, think of the challenge that it would be to get on a boat and move these 500-ton stones and align them perfectly. This is where I talk about alchemy, how alchemy takes place rather than building these things.
The Great Sphinx, an equinoctial monument aligned perfectly to the rising sun on the spring equinox. Anybody can test this for themselves. Just go to Giza on the 21st of March, be there before dawn, stand behind the Sphinx, and you will see the sun rising directly in line with the gaze of the Sphinx. But the question is, what constellation was behind the Sphinx? And 12,500 years ago, it was the constellation of Leo. And actually, the constellation of Leo has a very Sphinx-like look. And I and my colleagues are pretty sure that the Sphinx was originally a lion entirely, and that it, over the thousands of years, it became damaged, it became eroded, particularly the part of it that sticks out the head. There were periods when the Sphinx was completely covered in sand, but still the head stuck out. By the time you come to the fourth dynasty, when the Great Pyramids are supposedly built, by the time you come to the fourth dynasty, the head of the lion, original lion head, would have been a complete mess. And we suggest that it was then recarved into a pharaonic head.
I want to talk about the drones. The drones with quotation marks, because they're clearly not drones. That happened in late 2024. Does that look like a drone to you? Absolutely not. It doesn't look like a drone, because it's not a drone. So let's get to the bigger point. Why aren't we talking about this anymore? Isn't it funny how they've stopped talking about it? Possibly because they don't want to talk about it. But yeah, whatever. We know they're not drones. So, it's cool.
Lots clear. 7, go ahead. I'll tell you at 10 o'clock high. This is Houston. Say again, 7? I'll tell you at 10 o'clock high. We have an unidentified flying object.
Oh, it's
but appears to be coupling. It just seems to be tagging along with us.